grade 2s and 3s. I'm sitting here in my garden looking around at all the different things I have planted, and I thought it might be a great idea to share with you different reasons why we have gardens and the different ways we can use them. So today I'm going to make this video, and as you're watching it, I would like you to answer the questions that I ask you throughout. You can do this on the Google Classroom or by emailing me. First thing before we get started is to remember to have a few important things with you if you're making a garden. 1, sunscreen. 2, lots of water at hand. And finally, if it's a sunny day like today, you're going to want to have a hat on your head. So that's your first question. Why are those 3 things important? The first garden I'm going to share with you is my herb garden. Now you'll notice this isn't in the ground like a traditional garden might be. It's right outside my sliding doors, actually on my deck, so I can access it easily. We've got mint, parsley, thyme, dill, basil, rosemary, and oregano. Some of you might associate herbs with things like this, and these are also herbs as well. This is parsley and this is rosemary. This rosemary looks a little bit different because it's been dried out and chopped up, whereas this is fresh leaves, so they're soft. They do the same thing, but it's nice to have fresh herbs as well. Now here's question number 2. Why do I want a herb garden? I am in one of my most favorite gardens. This is my vegetable garden. Here I've got some cucumbers, beans, which like to climb, tomatoes, which are in cages to keep them contained. I've even got raspberries and a pumpkin. Over here is my beautiful sage bush. I have to trim the flowers off this one for it to stay nice. Sometimes you'd love to have flowers in gardens, but when flowers grow on herbs such as sage, you have to pick them off. Otherwise, the taste of the herb gets a little bit bitter. Another thing you need to pick out of your garden regularly are weeds. These are things like little green plants and grass that just grow around the flowers and your vegetables. My next question to you is, why do we need to pick weeds out of the garden? And why do I have to put them in a bag that looks like this? The garden doesn't only belong to humans. Right here in my backyard is a beautiful ant hill. You can tell that it's not like the rest of the ground because it's not hard like the soil. It's more of a fine sand that the ants have created from crawling in and out of it. It's dotted with holes where the ants go into tunnel, and you can see the odd ant climbing around in there. I don't mind sharing my garden with the ants. This garden is brand new for my family this year. There used to be lots and lots of cedar trees here, but we chopped them all down and I planted what I call my pollinator garden. I'm trying to attract pollinators, and all of the plants that you see here will end up growing beautiful flowers. These plants are all called perennials, which means they will come back every year. They're tiny now, but they will end up getting bigger. The reason I planted lots of flowers here is because the bright, colorful blooms will attract pollinators such as hummingbirds, butterflies, and bees. My question for you is, why would I want to attract pollinators into my garden? What do they do that will help? I have a shallow bowl with water in it in case a butterfly wants to land and take a drink. And I also put slices of orange and watermelon in my garden regularly because they also attract pollinators. Like I say, this is a brand new garden and it might take a couple of years for pollinators to come here and stay, but this is what I'm hoping for. Another thing I made for my pollinator garden is this lovely bee house. Come check it out. I took some wood and hammered it together, and I filled the part with loose twigs at the top and all kinds of pine cones at the bottom so that the bees can burrow in there and hide. They can fit into very small places. I had to have my bee house facing south, and it had to be 1 meter high. Does anybody have any ideas why it would have to be up high off the ground? There's another question for you. Gardens don't always just have to be about growing things that you need, such as herbs, vegetables, or pollinators. Sometimes they're just for fun, like this one where we like to keep our gnome collection. It's just a fun spot in our backyard where we can add some pretty fragrant flowers. And here we have our compost heap. Friends in Miss Eccles' class who were in my class last year should know all about this. It's a place where you can put all of your food scraps, just natural food that grows in the ground, like oranges, bananas. You can also put eggshells in there. And when you turn the earth, you can see how rich it is, full of natural minerals as everything decomposes back into the ground from where it grew in the beginning. In the fall, I will put this on my gardens and it will make the soil rich and nutritious for next year's crops. So here's a question for you. What can you put in a compost heap and what should you never put in the compost? Ew, gardening can be hard work, but it's so worth it when you get the rewards of beautiful flowers, delicious herbs, and vegetables for your dinner. Remember, you don't need to have a backyard to have a garden. You can plant a garden in a pot, in a yogurt container, but as long as you have certain things that you need to grow plants successfully. Can you tell me what you need to grow a plant? Thank you, boys and girls, for joining me today in my garden. I wish I could see you in real life, and hopefully I will soon. Have a great day.